Hey, what's going on today, everyone? Soul King Crew Darthtator here today with a Set 2 Blue Ivankov deck profile that I will be playing once the set drops. I believe this deck is going to be one of the, if not the best blue deck of the set. It's a unique mid-range blue deck that takes advantage of having low cards in your hand at all times and playing around it. And today I'll be going over the cards that I'll be running and maybe some substitutions that you could possibly run in its place. Starting off, we got the Ivankov leader. Pretty self-explanatory. Mono blue, 5,000 attack, 5 life, and at the end of the turn, if you have 0 cards in your hand, you draw 2. That's I mentioned it earlier. You want to keep low hand size, if possible. If you got no combo in your hand, you can even pitch it with new combo land, get 2 new cards for your for your opponent's turn. And the objective of this deck is it's going to be pitching cards early to keep your life high, especially against those aggressive red decks, Zoro, Luffy, that are going to be swinging very often, very fast, with low hits. You want to make sure you're comboing out of them until you can start getting set up with 5-7 Don. So again, keeping your hand low early is not going to be a problem for this deck. And speaking of combos, we run plenty of 2K combos. We run about 12 in this deck to make sure we stay healthy early on and we can survive into that mid-late game. The Avita, very rarely you'll play this card on the field. Maybe if you have no other plays and you're going second, and against red deck again, if you want to really try to, or against red law as well, you're trying to set them behind, send things back to their hands, make them play more Don. Other than that, you're really keeping this in hand for your 2K combo. The next card, big card in the blue deck, in most blue decks, the Dracula Mihawk. Huge on play. One character gets with this cost of 7 or less, gets sent to the bottom of the deck. Great way to deal with cards that you don't want to deal with. An attacker that if he attacks next turn, like, can destroy your board. You get rid of a blocker or something like that, or just even like 5-drop laws. Other big guys, just send them to the bottom of the deck. You don't have to deal with it. I think it's the best removal in the game. It's better than sending cards back to the hand. Just send it to the bottom of the deck, and they probably won't see it for the rest of the game. And then we're gonna go into the next cards. We got Doflamingo, that's 3-drop blocker, and then we have Perona. Both have the same on-play effects. When you play them, you're gonna search the top 5 cards of your deck. And then you have the option of placing it on the bottom or the top in any order. This card has great synergy with New Land. We'll be using that quite often. You're trying to search out your Luffy's or your Ivankovs when you have the 7 Don, and the turn before you're trying to make sure you have the combo when you have 7 Don. These are essential. You see what you need. You set them on the top, and you can draw with New Land. You can you have plenty of options. You can even draw with Buggy if you need it. And if you don't see what you need, send it to the bottom, and it gives you a better chance at seeing it later, when you do need it. These cards are going to be pivotal, great synergy, like I said, with the deck. And they also have combo in their hand if you need to, and again, a blocker. And then they're just going to bring us to the next card, the first Impel Down card of the set we're looking at. Inazuma, he's a great blocker, 4-drop. When you have one or less cards in your hand, card gains 2,000 power. It's great. It makes it he's not targetable with pistol at that point. They'll need to neg him somehow. He's just a great blocker, harder to get around at that point. They'll need to invest more if they want to get over it and kill it at the same time. Just a great blocker in this deck. Good to play turn. If you go second on your second turn, you have a big blocker down. Brings us into the next card of the set. The Ivankov, the bread and butter of this deck. It's how you're going to set up all your big plays. On play, you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand, and then you can play 1 blue Impelled Down type character card with the cost of 6 or less from your hand. More times than not, you're going to be targeting the Luffy with this. It's got a great on play and when attacking. I'll go over it more when I get to that card, but most of the time you're going to drop this with the Ivankov. If you happen to not see Luffy, you get really unlucky. You don't have New Land on the board. You just happen to not see it. You do have other targets you could drop with the Ivankov. You can always drop this Crocodile, just a big 5 cost 7k hitter. You can get down for free. You can drop some of these other Impel Down cards. You have plenty of targets in case you don't hit the Luffy. But with our kit, there's more times than not we'll see the Luffy when we need it. But yeah, like I said, this is our bread and butter of the set. You really want to see this card. And like I said, this will make or break us if we have this card with probably one of these two by the time we have 7 Dawn. We'll go over to the next card, Crocodile, just a big body, 5k, 5 cost, 7k body, 1k counter if you need to. Can't say anything bad about the card. You know, it's hard for them, to get over the card. It's 7k. I can combo out of it, make them use more resources to try to kill it if they want to kill it. Just a good card to have. Brings us into the buggy card. Another great impel down card. It's our searcher on play. You look at the top 5, add an impel down card. And, just can't grab buggy, of course, but that's good to grab your Luffy's if you need it. Ivankovs. Worst case scenario, you can grab a 2k combo if nothing else. You grab Nukama Land. Just plenty of targets. You're not gonna miss with the buggy when you use it. You just hope you see what you want. Brings us into the Luffy next. Like I said, that's probably the second best card of the deck on play. And when you're attacking, you trash 2 cards from your hand, and you can return up to 1 character with the cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, and this character gets double attack. So players got to be really careful when this card hits the board. You can send before you attack, you can send back the blockers. Trash 2 cards from your hand. He gets double attack. Put a few dons on him. And it makes it a really scary card to deal with. You almost either have to block it or combo out of it unless you're really that far ahead. But and if you're behind, this card can get you back in the game if you can keep it up and on the board. Definitely second best card in the set. Next card we're gonna go to Bonclay, Mr. 2, one of my favorite characters on the show. He's a 2k combo. Most of the times, you're probably just going to keep him for 2k. If you have nothing else to play with the Ivankov, you can drop this. He deals with combo as well, or he deals with blockers as well. You can put a Don on him and swing. It sends himself plus a 2 cost or less to the bottom of the deck. So it's not the worst, but again, most of the time, probably keep this in your hand for the 2k combo. But again, you got no other plays. This guy is not the worst thing to put down on the field. Number 3, Mr. 3, Galadino for the next card here. Another blocker. He's a unique kind of blocker. You can swing with this guy, and then at the end of the turn, you trash a card and restand him. Pretty cool. A 5k blocker. Not really much else to say. Good to play. Your third, second turn, depending if you go first or second. And again, has a little bit of combo too. Which is a good thing about most of the impel down cards. They have combo besides the bigger ones. And then the last character card at least that we're running, Mihawk. 2k counter. Again, you're probably very rarely going to drop this card on the field. You got no other plays. This guy is pretty much just going to be your 2k combo. I guess if you have a really trash hand, you can, maybe put him down and try to fish. But if that's the case, you're probably going to be too far behind to do anything anyways. Other than that, we're going to go to some of our event cards and our stage. Now, the event cards, they're a little interchangeable. I know that the Japan player, he was running the Brick Fist. I was running that for a little bit too. That's good if you're playing a little bit more aggressive. You're trying to end the game. The game's, I think they play a little bit more slow in Japan, and here it seems everyone wants to go face. It's a little bit faster, so I decided to go with Overheat here. It's a good 4k combo on it, if I need it, and I can also send back a 3 or less back to the hand. The trigger is pretty decent too if it's in my life. Slow them down a couple turns. I can, if they swing, I combo out of something, and I can send back like a Restore or something else, like a 3 cost or less if they haven't swung with that yet. Almost can save me for 2 hits, depending on sequencing and stuff. Then other than that, we have Gum Gum Rain. I think this card's really good for this set. You're not really gonna have much unrested Dawn with this deck. You're playing a lot of your Dawn, so it's good that it is 0 Dawn cost, and it is pretty much just gives a card that has no combo, 3k combo. So it's not the worst. If you already have a Nukama Land down, and you draw into your other one, this is pretty much a dead card in your hand at that point. You can Gum Gum Rain it and turn it into a 3k combo. So It's got some decent synergy with the deck. Definitely saved me a few times, and it's pretty good. If you trigger it, it's not that bad either. Depending, you can get a blocker off the board. Make them play more Dawn. Set them behind is never a bad thing. And then the last card we're gonna look at here, the Stage, Nukama Land. Insane card. Helps you filter through your deck. You need to see these Impel Down cards. This card is going to help you filter through it. Again, I talked about it earlier. You're going to have great synergy with the Perona and the Doflamingo. So you need to get. So you have 7 Dawn and you need to, or you're at 8 Dawn. You can play the Perona and try to find that Luffy or that Ivankov with it. Set it on the top. Draw into it with the Nukama, and he also has the secondary effect where you could trash additional 3 cards. At the end of your turn, if you notice you have a card that's like a dead card in your hand, you can always trash it, and then at the end of the turn, draw 2 new cards with Ivankov. Hopefully get some combo on that. If you know what you're seeing with the Perona and Doflamingo, it works pretty well too. A lot of play potential with this. You're gonna have to do a little bit of thinking when you see your hands, but I think this deck's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really interesting. I just want to talk about some of the techs. I guess you can tech a few different cards in here. For the Mihawk, some people run this at 3. Same with this Doflamingo, they'll run this at 4 instead of 3. Instead of this Mihawk, there's a couple different cards you can run. Like I would possibly run this Crocodile against Law decks, Zoro decks, Luffy decks. They're pretty prominent here. On block, he just sends a 2 cost or less back to the bottom of the owner's deck. So send a Sunnykun, send a 1-drop blocker to the bottom of the deck. Never a bad thing. Jewelry Bonnies. There's a lot of things you could target and send to the bottom of the deck with this thing. So with some of those decks, Kinyamon as well, they run pretty low cost cards. You know, these cards might not be the worst. Or you can also run the 7-drop Doflamingo over the Mihawk. You know, he does a similar effect. Instead of bouncing to the bottom of the deck, it bounces it to your hand. It's good too, but they could play it the next turn if it's a low cost, a block or something like that. Again, it's just a lower cost, usually a little bit more options. And then again, I'll show you the Brick Fist. This is definitely not a bad card to be running in the deck. It's better. It's good if you're more aggressive. You can take off a blocker that's annoying on the board if you're trying to go for game. Or again, just to slow the enemy down. That's never a bad thing. You want to get to that mid game, late game with this deck. Slowing them down is gonna help you get to that point. So other than that, I think I've gone over everything. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit with the like, follow, and subscribe if you liked the video. Please leave any comments if you have any questions. We're definitely going to be doing more videos in the future. And next, I'll try to get a gameplay video up for everyone to see. Thanks again, everyone, and have a good one.